Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user TA Sister. My 26 female sister, 23 female, is broke and constantly asking for money from me. She has just announced that she's pregnant. My sister is living in supported living accommodation and has always had problems with money. She spends more on cigarettes and alcohol than food for herself or her bills and is constantly asking my mother and me for help. I admit I have been weak and given in to her and loaned her probably about £5,000 altogether within the last year, and it was just dawning on me that I need to seriously help her manage her finances and stop funding her poor choices, or my mother and I are going to be in the red from giving her money. Well, she called me today with the news that she's pregnant. She is ecstatic. She's already blown all her food money on baby toys and clothes and is applying for a council house now that she's going to have a baby. I asked who the father is, and apparently she's been sleeping with a man who lives in the same accommodation, and she doesn't want to tell him and doesn't mind if he doesn't want a part in her child's life. She wants to raise the baby. I know this baby is going to make her even more broke and desperate for money, and I just don't know what to do. Obviously, I told her I was happy for her and told her for the 100th time to please be careful with her money. And she said she was going to stop smoking and drinking for her baby, which I hate to say, but I doubt. I can't even really visit her that much since I relocated for work and live halfway down the country from her. I would obviously book a train to see her if I knew what to say. I just don't know how to tell her that I can't keep giving her money. She's pregnant and broke. I know she won't take it well, but I also know she cannot keep asking for money from her family and in turn do nothing to change her bad habits. What do I say to her? I don't want her to hate me or go to my mother saying that I'm not helping her. I just don't know what to do. Okay, OP, the simple answer is that if you want to do the right thing, then you need to accept that your sister will most likely hate you or badmouth you to your mom. We're talking about a person that can't take care of herself and now thinks she's capable of taking care of a baby. I feel really sorry for that baby. If I was in your shoes, I would tell her that I'm happy for her and all, but that I won't be giving her any more money. That she needs to get her crap together and either steps up or considers giving the baby up for adoption. That's probably what she's gonna say she wants to do, and that she needs your help and your money in order to do that. But you can't fall for that one, because even though it does sound harsh, enabling people's bad habits does not help them change them. I believe that deep down your sister knows who she is, so if she wants the baby to have a good life, then she does also know that that is highly unlikely it will happen with her unless she does a complete 180. But as you say, that's doubtful. But bottom line for you, OP, is you do not keep enabling her. And what do you guys think about this situation, or what would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Teresa JS says, you need to stop giving her money. She can't afford to repay any loan, so money you give her is not a loan but a gift. And when she spends her money on cigarettes and alcohol then asks you for money for food, your money is actually paying for cigarettes and alcohol. If she needs food, buy her food. If she needs diapers, then buy those. Don't give her cash or anything that can be easily converted to cash. Orange Kitty says, not your circus, not your monkeys. You didn't get her pregnant and you aren't forcing her to have this child. Therefore, this is her decision and her responsibility to support. Tell her that if she's ready to be a mother, she will need to pay for this baby herself. She's not special. People get pregnant and raise their children every single day without bleeding their family dry. If she isn't ready, then she should do the responsible thing and give it up for adoption, or tell the father so he can help or terminate the pregnancy. She has options besides being a parasite on you. Ways you can help. You can put aside money in an account that you don't give your sister access to for your niece or nephew to have when they turn 18. When the baby is older, you can offer to fund one extracurricular hobby for them. You can occasionally offer to babysit, pay for a babysitter, host the kid for a weekend or school break, or send helpful gifts like diapers. But I would make it 100% clear that these are from the goodness of your heart, and she is in no way entitled to them. If you continue to treat her like a child, then she will most likely raise her kid to be the same. Just whoring around says, stop enabling her. There is about to be another child in this world because of her. I don't even understand why you are worried about your sister tattling on your mother about you not helping her enough. Why do you care? I assume from this information that you come from a family of enablers. Stop the cycle. Stop enabling. Just say no. Practice saying no until you're blue in the face and don't be afraid to block her if need be. But warn her that this change is coming so she knows that you're not going to be at her beck and call monetarily, because clearly she's planning her pregnancy with that plan in place. Maybe if she's aware she's actually not receiving any help and this won't work as a cry for attention and that she'll actually have to do this alone, she'll rethink having a child, which honestly sounds better for everyone. We don't need one more neglected, abused child in the world. Caffeine Lights says, I think she's in for a rude awakening, to be honest. Here's the reality. The waiting list for council housing is astronomical. It depends on your area, but in most places the list is well over 9 months. Plus, they won't accept the pregnancy as proof until she has a living, breathing, screaming baby to house. If she's living as chaotic a lifestyle as you say, the midwives will flag up concerns. They have to. Social workers will be involved unless she's very convincing in keeping up the good behavior. I agree that you and your mom need to stop giving her money. It's just enabling her at this point, and you'll have to be cruel to be kind. The fact is that she will get allowances from the state, which she'll need to manage. Social services won't be too happy to see her relying on borrowed money all the time. She needs to be able to live within her means, even if those means are the state benefits. It's worth considering the point that if the baby is removed, and I hope it won't come to that, but if it is, they usually like to look for a relative to take the child on, as it's considered better for the baby. Of course, hope that it would never come to that, but it might be worth giving some serious thought to whether you'd be willing to take on that role if it came to it. Your mom too, if you can talk to her. It's not going to be an easy ride for her. I think that it's going to be much tougher than she's expecting. I guess that all you can do is try to be there for emotional support. Additional information from OP's comments. She won't terminate the pregnancy at all. I know that. I think I need to go to my mother and talk it out with her, because I'm worried that if I say I can't give her any more straight up, she'll end up getting it all off my mom and putting her in debt. And regarding my sister's situation, she's in supported living because she has mental health difficulties, I believe mainly depression and anxiety. I know she receives benefits, but I'm not sure which one. I know it's not a lot though. Anyway, I'm definitely going to stop, and I will definitely consider calling social services. I think they may be able to help her more than I can. Thank you. OP's edit. Wow, I did not expect so many comments. Thank you all for your advice. I'm definitely taking it all on board. I am no longer going to fund my sister, and I have arranged to visit my mother on the weekend to talk about everything with her. It sounds like she's also starting to see that neither of us can keep doing this. I'll update in a week's time after I have had a good talk with mom and let you all know what went down. Thank you all again. Okay, well, I think OP got some pretty solid advice, and also she's well aware that the enabling needs to stop, and she will speak to her mother about that. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. A quick recap for those who can't be bothered to read the whole thing. My sister, who is completely irresponsible with her money and asks me and my mom for money all the time, is pregnant. I knew it was going to lead to her spiraling even further into her bad habits and to more money begging. So I booked train tickets up to my hometown right before the holidays to meet my mother. Before this, however, who should contact me on the evening right before my trip asking for £50 but my sister? Reason? She'd seen some lovely baby clothes and just had to buy them, leaving her with no money for necessities. Oh boy, here we go. I told her no, I would not be giving her any money. Secondly, that I could not and will not keep funding her irresponsibilities, and that she needs to sort out her priorities, e.g. food and prescriptions. Well, as you can guess, she was not happy with this. She started crying big fat crocodile tears, asking what she was supposed to do as she had £3 to her name and no food in the house. I apologized and refused again, quite sternly at this point because I hate being guilt-tripped, and suggested she buy herself something cheap that could last a while, like some dried rice or pasta. This just agitated her even more. She started shouting that I need to stop telling her what to do and she knows how to look after herself. She started asking me if I loved her and if I even cared that she was pregnant. I told her that she should have thought about how bad she is with money before getting pregnant and that she's going to make her debt problem worse and I'm not going to be dragged under by paying for her child. At this point, we were both fuming. She was calling me all sorts of names and yelled that I was selfish and heartless and that she was going to tell our mother that I refused to help her in her time of need. Exasperated, I just said, "Fine, sister, tell her. If she has any sense, she will say the same thing. Goodbye," and hung up. She kept trying to call me after that, every time I just let it ring out. I then started getting texts, one of which threatening that I would never see my niece or nephew because I'm such an effing a-hole and she wouldn't want me around her children. I ended up calling my mother at that point to warn her that my sister would most likely be coming to her next to beg and told her to please not give in and fund her as this was something I wanted to discuss with her the next day. She said she wouldn't and then I turned off my phone and got an early night. So, the next day I take the 2-hour train to my hometown and I meet my mother at her house. After unloading Christmas presents, we had a long talk, and I wasn't surprised to hear my sister had been contacting her asking for money that very morning. Thankfully, my mother told me that she had said no, she couldn't. Money is tight for her too at the moment, with Christmas being only a few days away, and she cannot spare it. My mother got the same kind of guilt tripping, and my sister told her everything that I said to her on the phone in an attempt to get my mother to be mad at me. Fat chance that was, as my mother told me she agreed with everything I said. As she carried on relaying my sister's words, she started crying as she recounted what she said to her. It was horrible seeing her like that, and she told me that she hated telling her daughter no, but she had already had to sacrifice so much for her, and was only just beginning to see that she had to start putting her own needs first now. We both had a bit of a cry and I told her I would be there for her no matter what, which then gave way to laughter as my mother said, "Oh no, don't you dare let me become another bloody sister's name here to you." We both agreed 100% that we will not give my sister any money, but we will both go to see her and try to talk to her calmly about her options. Keyword being try here. We both know that she will be angry and try to guilt us more, but we agreed that we need to tell her face to face. We have also been looking up some local support groups centered around new mothers and living well on a budget. We are going to put these forward to her and ask that she give them a try. My sister usually goes to my mother's for Christmas, so I have no idea how she is going to be around her or if she will even turn up this year, having been rejected. I usually stay at home with my husband, but he and I have agreed that this year we will drive up to my mother's house tomorrow to spend it with her. If my sister turns up, so be it. We will talk to her then as a family, but if she doesn't, at least we will be there to keep the mom company on Christmas Day. It's going to be an interesting one this year for us. Thanks for all the support on the previous thread. Well, OP, congratulations on saying no to your sister, and also congratulations to your mom for standing strong even though your sister was heavily guilt-tripping her. And hopefully your sister will be open to actually accepting the right help from you guys. In any case, OP, thank you so much for sharing, and all the best in the future. Take care. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user PickleLips64151. Supervisor won't let me come in 1 hour early, so I worked hard enough that she and the entire sector didn't get raises that year, which meant they were 5% behind peers for salary for the rest of their careers. Background: the police department that I worked for set a policy that patrol officers were evaluated based on their daily activity, can't set quotas, etc, etc. So an officer is compared to all of the officers working under the same sector sergeant. The stats are compiled each month. Basically, you had to be within 10% of the sector average. If your sector averaged 10 marks of activity per day, you could average as low as 9 or as high as 11 and you were fine. Sector averages varied across geography and time of day. It was also pretty easy to stay within those parameters. My previous sector averaged 15 per day. Meet the goals and you get your yearly step increase, which is typically 5%. Miss those goals and you're a step behind your peers. Forever. This also translated to your overtime rate, which was a big portion of most officers' annual income. Let's say you're at $30 an hour and getting about 500 hours of overtime each year. That's about $62,400 base pay and another $22,500 in overtime for an annual salary of $84,900. Get your 5% step increase and the same amount of work will net you $65,520 in base and $23,625 in overtime and an annual salary of $89,145. Miss the step increase and you're still making $84,900 while your peers are making $4,245 more. This also translates to similar gains in pension, 401k, 457k, and IRA contributions, yada yada. I received a hardship transfer to day shift due to my son staying with me for the summer. It was only for 6 weeks. The hardship was that if I didn't get the transfer, I would have to find childcare during the evening, which would have cost me about $5,000 for the 6 weeks. My lieutenant assures me that I will be put on the 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift as my wife works the 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. shift. This lets us trade off with my son and everyone is happy. Enter my new day's shift sergeant. The sergeant was a slug. Read lazy, do-nothing supervisor drawing a paycheck and only looking out for themselves. The sergeant puts me on the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift. I approached her and ran through my story and advised her that I was told by the lieutenants that I would be on the 7 to 3 shift. She laughed at me and said, "That's what babysitters are for." Okay, fine. Enter the malicious compliance. The sector average for this sergeant was 7. You could literally get a 7 before you left the parking lot for your patrol shift. It wasn't a difficult achievement. I started getting daily activity of about 60 to 70 marks. A mark was just a tally mark next to a category of work. I was basically doing more work than the entire section combined every single day. After a week of this, she comes to me and tells me I'm doing too much. Tells me that I'm destroying the sector average and it's going to wreck my review. She didn't mention that it also wrecks her review and all of the officers under her. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Well, Sergeant, I just have so much energy because I get to sleep an extra hour. I just have to do something with that energy or I will go crazy." I let that sink in for a moment and then said, "If I had to get up earlier, like at 5:30 to be here at 7 a.m., I probably wouldn't have very much energy since I wouldn't be getting as much sleep." I kept working at the same pace for the rest of the month, effectively destroying the sector's average to the point where she didn't get her raise. Side note, yes, I also screwed all 6 officers that worked under her out of their races too. Funny thing about slug sergeants, they attract slug officers. Her sector has a terrible reputation for not being worth a damn. I didn't feel bad one bit, nor did anyone else that had to pick up their slack on the day shift. I got picked up for a special assignment after the first month and transferred to HQ for about 4 years. My evaluation was based on entirely different metrics that year. I not only got my raise, but I got a promotion as well. Wow, nicely done, OP. Well, she gave you the extra hour to sleep, so you just used it right. Good for you, thanks for sharing. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.